What's up, y'all? It is Dr. Mia and Joseph at Me Bella Wellness Center, where we offer gynecology to women and adolescents, as well as wellness services for both men and women. Our goal is to help you live well, age well, and experience everlasting intimacy. Joseph, you want to say hey to the people?
Hey to the people.
Okay.
Trying.
You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. I'm Joseph, Me Bella Wellness, men's health and wellness. Um,
Health and intimacy coach.
yeah.
And
health and intimacy coach.
And CEO. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So today we're talking about weight management and intimacy. We are a little late because, life happens. So glad y'all could join us. Make sure you watch the replay. Make sure you click in the link if you are watching the replay. And we want to talk about weight management and everlasting intimacy. And we want to talk about it from the perspective of those women and men who are in their late 30s, 40s, early 50s, where weight management changes. And we consider this time of life the midlife journey. Some people call it perimenopause or periandropause, meaning it's before the end of producing any hormones, but it's in that time frame where your hormone production starts to decline and wax and wane. And as a result, men and women can have certain symptoms. So for women, those symptoms tend to look like weight gain. I think that's probably one of the first ones we notice is that it's a lot harder. Let's just go back and forth with symptoms that we both experience as we have transitioned through this menopausal phase, Joseph. So for me, I think the first one was weight gain, because when I first started my practice, I went for training to learn how to lose the weight and keep it off. I changed my lifestyle. I started eating healthy. I was having breakfast in the first hour. I was doing my protein shakes, getting my protein in, exercising with a trainer and being pretty consistent. And then all of a sudden at around the age of 37, 38, I started having these really mild symptoms. But I say one of the first ones was the difficulty losing the weight and keeping it off, and then how easy it was to gain weight. What's the symptom that you noticed that kind of let you know you were in that midlife journey, or periandropause, we can call it?
I think fatigue.
Okay.
Fatigue. I can't really say weight gain because I wasn't working out.
Okay, so you weren't doing the lifestyle
thing. I wasn't doing a lifestyle thing. So weight gain became normal because I wasn't working out. But I would say fatigue for sure is the one thing that I say I notice more than anything else.
Okay, so you say fatigue. Now, some people say fatigue. Okay, they're a little tired. Can you describe or give us a description of what you mean by fatigue?
I don't consider fatigue being a little tired. For me, fatigue is being exhausted.
Okay.
In the middle of the day. I think if you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're out by 8 o'clock. You work all day, you do the after work stuff, which is children, food, whatever else you may do when you get home from work. By 8 o'clock at night, you should be a little tired.
Right.
But at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you shouldn't feel like you want to go to bed.
Right.
So that's what I consider fatigue for me. So extreme fatigue, I would say.
And some people have described it as waking up tired. So even after you feel like you've gotten your 6 or 7 hours of sleep, when you wake up, it's just really hard to get out of the bed. You're exhausted. It takes everything you have to get up and get moving around, and you're still tired throughout that process. Right. Whereas for me, post hormones, when I wake up, I just wake up, I get up, I go do my workout. It's not like I'm dragging. I don't have to motivate myself. It's time for me to wake up. I've slept well, and it's also because of good sound sleep. So I would say another one for me, we said weight gain for me, we said fatigue for you. I would say another one is changing sleep patterns. Mm-hmm. So it being harder to go to sleep. I noticed back in my 30s before I ever did hormones, it was harder for me to fall asleep. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and that was waking up whether or not it was because I had a night sweat or because I just woke up and looked at the clock and it was 3:17. So I would say that whole sleep disruption pattern, and a lot of women and men noticing their late 30s, early 40s, they start having problems with sleep. So of course, if you're not sleeping well, you're gonna be tired, you're gonna be more irritable and more anxious. So I would say my next one would be sleep disruption. What would your next one be?
I didn't have any sleep issues because I've been wearing a sleep app for 20 plus years. So I can't say anything about sleep. But I would say I wasn't fatigued when I woke up either. I was ready to get going. But 2 o'clock, I would say the next thing would be my low libido.
Okay.
Low libido,
Oh, yeah.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
low libido. But that would be the next thing for me. It would be low libido. And I think that's the two key for me were fatigue, extreme fatigue in the middle of the day, and low libido. So,
and when you say low libido, describe that, because everybody's like, well, what's
really,
low?
I can't really describe it. What I can tell you is I lack the drive to want to be intimate in a physical way.
Okay.
Let's say that.
Okay.
I can't tell you how I feel because it's not really a feeling.
Hey, girl.
What up, though? It's not really a feeling. It's like it's not even a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I didn't have the drive to want to be intimate in a physical way. Mm-hmm. So I would say, the two things that were key for me in that perimenopausal state, I guess you could say, and I would say that was my mid to late 50s. No, 50s. I'm not
40s.
Mid 50s now. My mid to late 40s would be extreme fatigue and low libido. And again, a low libido thing is not I can't say like it was a feeling like, man, I don't understand why I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a process or a thought even to do it.
Yeah.
It was like, it's time to go to bed. I want to go to bed. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even like, I don't want to do it, or it had no feeling like that. It's just that it was not on my mind like that.
Yeah. Now I say for me, it was the feeling of, oh my God, like the dread of wanting to, and not because I wasn't attracted to my husband. None of that. Like, we were in a good relationship. I was still attracted, but it just was not priority for me anymore. And it was because I just didn't have a strong desire to.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I didn't have the desire. It's just not one of those things that was like, if you was laying next to me, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like doing it. You know what I'm saying? If you was laying next to me, we was laying next to each other. That was just
trying to get some rest.
Yeah. So it wasn't something that was like consciously knowing. It was it was. I mean, it wouldn't even. You just look. It wasn't even a thought that we didn't have physical intimacy for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. You just look up.
It wasn't even a thought.
It
wasn't even a thought. So I'm not saying this is something you just like, oh my God, no. It wasn't even a thought. It was just that life is moving. This is where we are.
And then you look up, and
3 weeks go by and we haven't done anything. Right.
So what do we do? So what we did to try to remedy that situation, because life does get busy. Like during this time in perimenopause, when you're talking about your late 30s to your 50s, that's a time when a lot of times you're taking care of kids, you're taking care of parents, aging parents. You working real hard in your career, trying to excel in your career, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work for somebody, you know, whether you're a high professional or not. It's at the time in your life when you're trying to make as much money as you can so you can plan for your future, your retirement, and all of those things. So I would say
because working wasn't a problem.
Right.
Even though we were exhausted and tired, we're just the type of people that's going to grind because that's what our life consists of.
Right.
You know, but it was at nighttime, we were pretty much like, let's make sure we're fed. Let's make sure homework is done. You know, let's make sure the family is taken care of. And then we got into bed and either you was doing charts or I was doing reports.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you know, we're running two separate businesses. We're in the same business now, but we're running two separate businesses that was high administrative duties.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day. So, you know, either I'm doing inspection reports from doing 3 to 4 inspections in a day, which can take me 3 to 5 hours to do in the evening.
Yeah.
So I might come in at 7 o'clock and then, you know, hang out for about an hour. And then from 9 to 1 in the morning, I'm doing reports.
Yeah.
You know, so at that point, you know, being intimate is far from my mind.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. it also has to do with the energy to be intimate too,
Mm-hmm.
because I could do a lot at night tonight, like now, and still want to be intimate.
Right.
At
Right.
1 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. That's right. But
In
then,
at 40, between 46 and 48, that
that
probably
was
was
not.
not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
You know, I'm going to bed. So,
And that was definitely my
right.
41 and 45. But see, the difference is I've always been on pellets. And with
Right.
pellets, that's when I noticed that, you know, my physical desire
Mhm.
for intimacy increases significantly.
So,
and it's almost necessary. You know what I mean?
right.
I don't even have to think about it. So one thing that we did, and we're going to get back to the weight management. One thing that we did was we made a 3-day rule so that we don't get caught up in life. We say after 3 days, it's a must that we have some kind of physical intimacy.
Mhm.
And so we have held ourselves to that.
Yeah.
But
going back to the weight management, though, I think when my weight got out of control, because I had worked out from the age of 13 to 40 consistently, right? And I think that's where I got tired of working out. And that may have been where my testosterone started dropping, to be honest with you, because I just lost the drive to work out. You know, and I think it was just the redundancy of working out that got on my nerves.
And being more tired and not sleeping.
I don't even think at that point it was more tired. I think it was just the redundancy of working out, going to Gold's Gym every other day. Like I stayed in Gold's Gym. I don't know. But I stayed in Gold's Gym every other day, putting in an hour of workout. At that time, I might play a little ball. I don't do that no more though. But it just became redundant to me, and I didn't like it. So from that, I just stopped working out, and immediately I went from about 225 to about 235, and then slowly. And think about this: if you gain a pound a year, after 15 years, you've gained 15 pounds. So after 10 years, you gain 10 pounds, right?
More.
So after 10 years, I gained 20 pounds, you know, because I think before I lost weight, I was at about 255, you know, and I got up when Mia was pregnant, I got up to about 265, but we were the clumps. We were the clumps.
We ate real good then.
It was cheeseburgers and milkshakes every day. So,
yeah. But so when you are talking about weight management in this perimenopausal thing, it's also because of the change in testosterone, because when testosterone declines, you lose muscle. And when you lose muscle, it slows your metabolism. So you can be doing all the things that you were doing 5 years ago with more muscle and more testosterone and easily gain because of the decrease in testosterone, decrease in your muscle mass. And then with low testosterone, you also get more emotional eating. So men and women tend to notice that they snack more, may crave more salt and sugary and sweet things than they did before. But that has a lot to do with the increased irritability, anxiety, and depression. But again, it all stems from perimenopause, which is the decrease in testosterone, which makes weight management more difficult during this time of life.
Right. And even if you stop working out, that's why I always encourage anybody in their 30s who work out or in their 40s who work out. You may decrease your time in the gym, but you have to still spend time in the gym or just stay active. If you go from doing a lot of physical things in the gym, start doing more walking if you don't want to do all the gym stuff. You know, we get to the age like my shoulders now, I have to be careful. I have to work out more on my shoulders to strengthen them, because if I don't, then my shoulders get to be painful. I dislocated my shoulder doing nothing, you know, because I wasn't working out and strengthening my shoulders. So shoulders are very important to me. Legs are very important to me because I have a torn MCL and a torn ACL in the knee that I had to keep my legs strong. So walking works for that.
But I would also say just in this age group, even though you want to get some cardio in, what's most important and that you cannot miss is resistance training. And resistance training is important to hold on to your muscle mass, which helps with your metabolism, but also to protect your bones so that you're less likely to get a fracture as you age. Also, exercise is very important at this age with doing the resistance training and the stretching so that you can make sure, again, that you're maintaining your muscle and protecting your joints, because now that they're aging, you're more likely to have joint pain, knee replacements, you know, and it's really easy to injure your joints, especially if you're not exercising.
Right.
So making sure you get that Pilates, that yoga in, good stretching, calisthenics, resistance training, whether it's with your body weight or whether it's with other weights, but you need the
Even
resistance
bands,
training.
stuff like that, where you have resistance training.
And chair exercise is still fine. You
Yep.
can still do your resistance training in the chair.
Yep.
But doing that resistance training is key.
So we're talking about weight management and intimacy. And the most important thing for us when it comes to weight management is and being intimate is making sure that we're staying at a healthy weight that allows us to have the energy in order to be intimate. Mm-hmm. So that also goes in how we eat. I'm on raw vegetables right now, mostly because I don't eat enough salads and stuff like that. I'm not big on salads like that. Mia is, but in order for me to feel normal, even for my digestive system to be normal, where you have a normal bowel movements and things like that, I have to eat raw vegetables. So I'm trying to eat as many salads in a week that I can, not every day, but as many in a week as I can, as well as making sure that the products that I'm putting in my body are as natural as possible. And I say as natural as possible because none of the foods you really eat is free of the bull crap, you know? So we want to make sure that we read our labels. Like for me, I know my body can't do enriched flours. So bread, which we love bread, but anytime I eat bread, I'm going to have a negative effect maybe in a day from bread. So I have to eat natural wheat flours and things like that. The other things is we try to stay away from dairy products. Dairy doesn't work with us that well. So we try to stay away from dairy. And when it comes to the weight management, you know, by us eating the correct foods and weighing ourselves every day and getting in the 100 ounces of water that we're supposed to get in a day, that allows us to have the energy. And what a lot of people don't understand about drinking water is water helps your metabolism. Mm-hmm. If you're drinking enough water in a day, it will speed up your metabolism, so you're burning more during the day. And if you don't, you will notice the effect. Because if I'm drinking a whole bunch, I drink my sugar. I don't eat my sugar. I literally drink my sugar, right? So if I'm drinking my sugar, trust me, tomorrow I'm gonna have a pot belly stomach because I drink my sugar. Yeah, I'm gonna be bloated from it. So go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So again, going back to weight management and intimacy, we talk about this, especially in this time in life where it's natural to have a decline in your testosterone and a decreased desire for intercourse,
right?
A decreased desire of enjoyment of intercourse and changes in your sexual function, meaning men notice more erectile dissatisfaction, erections aren't as hard and long and strong, and the same for women. They may notice more vaginal dryness and decreased sensitivity and decreased enjoyment. But at the end of the day, one of the things that's going to help maintain everlasting intimacy is healthy weight management and living a healthy lifestyle. And in order to do weight management, like Joseph was just saying, it's so many little key things that we should be doing. One that he said, weighing yourself regularly so you can recognize when you're gaining weight and you can make some changes so that it doesn't continue to add up. And instead of gaining 2 or 3 pounds, which you notice if you weigh yourself every day or at least 3 or 4 times a week, is not 10 to 15 pounds, which is much harder to lose. Right. You know, making sure you know your hormonal numbers. If your testosterone is low, replacing that makes weight management so much easier because it helps with your mood. It helps with the emotional eating. It helps with the muscle mass. It helps with your desire for intercourse. It helps with your energy so you feel like exercising. But weight management and intimacy go hand in hand. It's hard to maintain good, healthy, everlasting intimacy as you age and mature if you're not maintaining a healthy weight, because at this point in life, in order to have a healthy weight, you're doing all those lifestyle changes, drinking your water, 100 ounces of water, having your breakfast in the first hour and eating every 2 to 3 hours, making sure you're getting 60 to 90 grams of protein a day, depending on how much you weigh. Also, like Joseph said, for your digestive tract, making sure you're getting your fiber in, making sure you're getting your water in. All of those, because your digestive tract changes and more women become more constipated. Men may eat more constipated or diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome. So if you're not really paying attention to what you're putting in your body, you're more likely to have those GI issues. But it all goes hand in hand during this perimenopausal time. It's easier to gain weight, harder to lose weight. When you have an unhealthy weight and an unhealthy lifestyle, it's harder to engage in everlasting, enjoyable intimacy.
And let's make it very clear. When we say perimenopause, we're not, or I'm going to say peripause, we're not just talking about women. Right. Men have andropause, which is the male version of menopause, So we're not just talking about women. We're talking about men as well. And like she said, when your testosterone drops to a certain level, you will be able to tell. I'm gonna be very transparent and say that what I know is my 250-pound erection is a different erection than 230-pound erection. I know that for a fact. So when it comes to weight management and being intimate, I want to be 230 pounds.
Right.
Now I want to be less than 230 pounds, but I'm a natural 220-pound man. So, but I want to be less than 250. It is a difference between the two. And the energy, now let's make things very clear. I am a 54-year-old man. I'm not trying to swing from no chandeliers. All right. And I ain't trying to go to the wee hours of the morning.
Right.
I got stuff to do tomorrow. So we're not trying to stay up all night being intimate with each other. No. Now we trying to put in some time though.
Right.
We trying to put in some time.
But we don't have to put in 3 hours.
Nah, I ain't trying to put in no hour and a half, 45 minutes.
20 30 minutes.
Yeah. If we get around to, okay, but we probably gonna be on the beach somewhere to get around to. We got stuff to do tomorrow. All right. So, but we ain't trying to do all that, right? We trying to be pleased, but we ain't trying to wake up tomorrow talking about, so what were we doing last night? Why is my hip hurting? Right. Why my shoulder hurt over here? Nah. And let's be realistic, right? Let's be realistic. But we do want to have good intimacy. We want to have good erections. We want to be lubricated. You know what I'm saying? We want all the things to be working. We want to be sensitive. We got to have sensitivity. And that's one of the things you will lose in your perimenopausal and menopausal stage is sensitivity. So we want to make sure we have sensitivity, because if you don't have sensitivity, that can make it uncomfortable as well. So we want to be lubricated. We want to have sensitivity. We want strong erections. And we also want to be able to last, but we don't want to wake up in the morning and call a chiropractor because we was doing something we wasn't supposed to do in our 50-year-old ages.
Especially if we haven't been exercising to like hold on to the muscles and monitor those joints.
You know what I'm saying?
Stuff,
we ain't playing no what's that game?
Twister.
We ain't playing no Twister. All right. We ain't doing all that. So, but no, but honestly, so the weight management is very key to us being pleased in our intimacy.
That's right.
All right. The next thing I would say is the weight management is very key to us being pleased in our life, in our longevity of life. Because if you're not controlling your weight, then diseases come. You deal with diabetes, heart disease, cancer. Well, let me X out cancer. Cancer hit anybody at any time.
Right, but being overweight or obese increases your risk of breast cancer, colon cancer, cervical, like all the cancers. You have a worse outcome as well as worse risk.
But it increases your risk for those cancers.
That's right.
For cancer period. Let's not say those cancers, but for cancer period. And then weight management also it decreases your risk for heart disease. And again, we're not saying that this is the end all be all. Watching your weight will, make your heart stronger, because that can hit at any time too.
But it is one of the most preventable causes of any kind of chronic disease. It's
diabetes.
Being obese.
Diabetes sometimes is directly related to your weight.
Most of the time.
Yes.
Most of the time. Like
directly
85 to 90% of the time is directly related to weight.
Yeah, directly related to your weight. And sometimes when people lose weight, they end up not having to take any medication for diabetes.
That's right. And that's type 2 diabetes that we're talking about. The one that's the insulin resistance that you do get because of being overweight. So
right. And so that's a reason, not just we talk about intimacy, but if you want to live a healthy lifestyle and be able to be intimate, whether with yourself or with someone else, then your weight is very key to your lifestyle. If you want to have energy so you can work like we work, because we love to work and we love to work to retirement, you know, that's why we put in hours to do what we do. We wouldn't be able to do that if we have an unhealthy lifestyle.
That's right. And health is your wealth. So for all the entrepreneurs out there, you cannot like reach a lot of your goals professionally and in your relationship without focusing on living a healthy lifestyle and maintaining a healthy weight.
Right. And I wouldn't say health is wealth.
I do.
But I would say you won't enjoy anything if you just let yourself go. You know, if you're spending your money on doctor bills and going to the doctor all the time, that's not how I want to spend my money.
No. Or my time, because they're still taking away from I could be doing.
I do want to waste my money, but not in the doctor's office, though.
Right, exactly.
I want to waste it, but not in the doctor's office. So all that being said, weight management is very key to have a healthy lifestyle and healthy intimacy.
That's right.
Weight management is also very key to seeing your grandkids. You know, I want to see my grandkids again. Tomorrow's not promised to nobody.
That's right.
You know, so we don't control any of that. We can be totally healthy and don't show up tomorrow. So we don't control any of that. But part of all of that is do the best you can for you.
And that includes hormone balance, because a lot of the problems I would be experiencing, I'm not experiencing because I keep my testosterone levels balanced, and now even my estrogen levels, because now I'm not producing as much estrogen with age and maturity and getting closer to what true menopause is, which is not just a decline in the testosterone, but also a decline in the estrogen. And that's just a normal part of life for most women. Average age is about 52. But women start noticing those perimenopausal symptoms as much as 10 to 15 years before they actually go into true menopause.
Right.
So I don't want you to think that just because you're in your 30s and 40s, it's not menopausal symptoms or hormonal imbalance. Perimenopause is simply testosterone imbalance, and periandropause is testosterone imbalance for men and women.
Right.
And many times replacing it and balancing the hormones helps with the intimacy as well as the weight management. So it all kind of works well together. Being hormonally balanced makes it much easier to maintain a healthy weight and continue to experience healthy, everlasting intimacy.
Yeah. So again, we talk about weight management, intimacy. I think one thing I would leave you with is just pay attention to what you're eating first. Make sure you're taking in enough water, you know, get in some steps, and go to your doctor.
Do your prevention and screening.
Yeah, do your prevention and screening. Listen to what your doctor say. Tell your doctor everything. Family history is very important. Okay, so tell your doctor your family history so they can screen you for all the stuff. Be very open and honest with your doctor.
And make sure you have a good doctor that cares about you and that's going to take good care of you. Because unfortunately, all doctors don't take good care of all of their patients. So
but do your part. Do your part in supplying the information, because you can't be mad if you don't tell them.
Right.
Don't go into your doctor and you had chest pains yesterday and say everything's okay.
Right.
It's not okay.
And find good doctors that are going to take great care of you.
You said that already.
Yeah. But I mean, it's so important because I do this every day.
Right.
So I see my patients who actually go to the doctor and do their part, but they may not be going to a doctor that's telling them the right things that they need to do and pushing them to do those screenings and making sure that they're up to date on all of their screenings and stuff. So you do have to choose a good doctor.
Okay.
But you also have to do your part. And that part of your part is going to the doctor, getting your prevention and screening, finding good doctors that you can trust to take good care of you, and then trying to live a healthy lifestyle. so that you can do your part in making sure you maintain your health. And that includes lifestyle changes, healthy weight management, hormone balance, your prevention and your screening, and seeing your doctors and trying to maintain a healthy weight, which does become a little bit more complicated and challenging as we age and mature. So a lot of times we need help to figure out the right lifestyle for us to lose the weight and keep it off so that we can live a healthier lifestyle and experience everlasting intimacy. So yeah, anything else you could think of, Joseph, to share with the people about weight management, intimacy, living a healthy lifestyle, prioritizing intimacy in your relationship? I think that that's very important, to not just like scratch it out if it's not something that's been a priority, but making sure you are prioritizing that, because it's important for your oneness in your relationship. And lack of intimacy can cause isolation in your relationship, and that's not what we're going for.
No. Well, I mean, you wouldn't even know it though. Let me just say this. A lot of times, like, I didn't know that my libido was down. I just figured we didn't have time for it. So I wasn't even trying to not have time for it. It just wasn't even crossing my mind.
Exactly.
Wouldn't even come across my mind. But I say I ought to say this. May 10th.
Yes.
May 10th, 2025. This is 2025, right?
2025.
Yeah, May 10th, 2025. Me Bella Wellness Center is putting on a women's conference from 9 to 3 at the UAB Hilton Women's Conference, 9 to 3, UAB Hilton, Birmingham, Alabama. Will feature some of the doctors that we are. We feature some of the doctors that we are partnership and friends with. Mm-hmm. They'll be coming to talk to you about, and this is a women's conference specifically for women, coming to talk to you about perimenopause and the other things you can do to have a phenomenal work-life type of balance, as well as live a life of everlasting intimacy. And it will be on May 10th from 9 to 3.
At the UAB Hilton downtown. We're going to have a lot of wonderful experts and guests that are going to be talking all about everlasting intimacy, living a healthy lifestyle. We have a DJ Chocolate. We have a wonderful host, Clarissa Kenty. Miss B is going to come and give us some words of wisdom to get us started. It's just going to be an amazing event with lots of fun, excitement, giveaways, prizes, and all the things to help you live your best life.
Yeah, so get your tickets now. Tickets are on sale right now. And we hope to see you there on May 10th at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also have VIP tickets. We'll cover some extra goodies and a VIP reception afterwards at Dread River, featuring some of the docs that would be there speaking. It's going to be a phenomenal time. Again, this is a women's conference, all women. So we will be digging in everything that has to do with women being in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, and how you can live a life of everlasting intimacy. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through our website or in our office at 995-1009. 205-995-1009.
And click the link in the chat because it will take you right to the tickets so you can get your tickets. And don't forget, we are doing master classes every Saturday. For the next 4 Saturdays, we did our first one. You will see the replay, and we'll make sure that you get the link so you can go ahead and get your tickets before they sell out. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And I think we have Coach Peggy Keebler, and we'll be talking about PCOS, insulin resistance, and a little bit more about exercise. So we'll see you then. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. It's Dr. Mia. Bye.
Bye.